It's me, Channel Dog. How are you doing? I, for one, am a little perturbed by something that I read on the internet today. Similar to how most of us start the day, to be honest, these days. So in an interview with Nintendo Dream, Shigeru Miyamoto was asked about his process regarding the pacing of the Super Mario Bros. Movies. These are particularly fast-paced films, feeling more like a collection of slapstick shorts than an actual movie. Now, I generally chalked this up to Illumination being the ones to make these movies. I never had high hopes for these Mario movies. I never had any faith in them because of Illumination. I generally find the vast majority of their films to be like an endless barrage of skits that gets tiresome well before the 90-minute mark. And that's exactly how I feel about these Mario movies, and I've largely pinned that on Illumination. But it does look like there is a greater force at Nintendo that has also been kind of influencing this as well. Enter Shigeru Miyamoto, the father of Mario. And I think it is incredibly important for me to at least acknowledge that Shigeru Miyamoto is not some talentless washed-up hack. As a game director, Shigeru Miyamoto was absolutely instrumental to the shaping of the gaming landscape as we know it today. Under his leadership, multiple revolutions happened in the gaming industry. And obviously you can't credit all that to one singular person, however, Miyamoto does have a track record. With that said, I don't think he understands or appreciates movies. And if you look at him as a game designer, you can see why he's not necessarily going to work as a filmmaker. In an interview with Wired magazine back in 2009, Miyamoto stated that he wanted Super Mario Galaxy 2 to have minimal story, due to his own concerns that a heavy narrative could weigh down the fun of the Mario games. That is Miyamoto's creative philosophy, fun first. And seemingly to Miyamoto, story is the enemy of fun. And while I think fairly minimal story has ultimately benefit a lot of the Mario games, although where they have done narrative elements, they're usually very good. But this all works for a game, because the substance is ultimately the gameplay. But going into fiction filmmaking, story, character, thematic exploration, they all matter. Well, here is what Miyamoto had to say about his approach to the pacing of the Mario movies. Another approach is to create things using small partial units. For example, 30 units of 3 minutes each make up 90 minutes, and it's very similar to my own method. I don't make anything unnecessary, but I hardly throw anything away either. So Illumination's technique involves a lot of swapping and rearranging of those units, creating something with incredible density. I'm gonna just talk about that paragraph first. It's clear that Nintendo chose Illumination to partner up with because of this philosophy. They clearly share in that mentality. Now, the idea of a film as a collection of moments can work, and fast-paced movies can work. I think the goal here is to have each scene be so distinct and so unique that you end up with about 90 minutes of memorable moments. But the problem is, these Mario movies are not memorable in the slightest, they slide off the brain. So I want to quickly compare these to a movie that also has a very fast pace, where each scene feels like its own mini-movie, but the difference is that this one does it well, and that is The Mitchells vs. the Machines. It's all told through the lens of Katie, a budding filmmaker, so we regularly cut to her lens, basically, her insights. And you've got a lot of these sequences that feel like their own little mini-movies, such as the Furby attack, the childhood montage, Linda tapping into her rage to rescue Aaron, the infiltration at PAL Labs, all in the same way that the Super Mario Galaxy movie has all of the Yoshi shenanigans. It has Star Fox's introduction and involvement in the quest. It has the Mario Brothers being turned into babies, and Yoshi having to babysit them and protect them from the Mario Odyssey dinosaur. And both films have a theme of family. But here's where these films start to differ. Look at protagonist Katie Mitchell from The Mitchells vs. the Machines. She's incredibly creative and a passionate filmmaker, but she also deals with a sense of otherness. She struggles to fit in wherever she goes and also fit in with her family. She's also openly lesbian as well. Now let's look at Mario from the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Well, he thinks he has feelings for Peach that he might confess. He never does that though. And that's it, he's just kind of a nice guy. The theme of family in The Mitchells vs. the Machines is explored through Katie wants to fly out to college on time for orientation week because she's eager to get away from her family and find her people. Her father Rick cancels that and takes her on a road trip. And it all culminates in a message that Katie learns to appreciate her family as her people. She realizes that all of these people would die for each other. But Rick also realizes that you cannot force proximity between yourself and your child when they are growing up. forcing her into a road trip is not going to be the last-ditch effort to fix their bond. So we explore the idea of the child having nothing to do with the father, and we approach it in a very balanced and empathetic way. Right, so how does the Super Mario Galaxy movie approach the theme of family? I guess the characters are related. Peach and Rosalina, they're related. Mario and Luigi, they're related. Bowser and Bowser Jr., they're related. Family! So here's the thing. The Mitchells vs. the Machines succeeds at what the Super Mario Galaxy movie fails at. It's a film rich with iconic moments and a whip-fast pacing, but it has the thematic exploration and character exploration to back that up, and it does it in a way that is efficient. If we look at how Miyamoto described his process, 3-minute increments to build up 90 minutes, it's just mathematical and mechanical, and films are not mathematics. If you dial films down to mathematics, you don't really have much of a film. He mentions how he doesn't make stuff that isn't necessary, which also results in him not throwing much away. But if we look at the Super Mario Galaxy movie, there are tons of moments you could strip out of it. The baby scene is the prime example. Yet it's lacking in any character depth or thematic exploration. So is Miyamoto's verdict that character depth and thematic exploration are not necessary? Because no, these aren't actually optional to film. These are what make films stick. These are the things that create a connection between the audience and the film and make us care. But that's not all that Miyamoto has to say regarding pacing. He mentions, another thing is, for example, parents sitting there out of a sense of responsibility for taking their children to a movie theater, or a story that's moving for the parents, but the children are running around the theater. I've always wanted to make a movie that isn't like that, so in that sense, I think it was good that we decided to make it a fast-paced 90 minutes that would be over in no time to catch your breath. Okay, so your selling point is, it's over in no time. Look, Shigeru Miyamoto as a game designer is a trailblazer. As a film producer, he's a coward. For starters, this very black and white line of thinking. You either get a film with a good story but the kids are running around and not paying attention, or you get a kid movie that the parents aren't enjoying. So the solution is, don't worry, it'll be over soon. No, that is not how it works. For starters, rather than making a film that commands the attention of the audience, we're instead basically rolling over and showing our tummies and surrendering to the fact that kids these days don't have the attention span they once did. Which feeds directly into a huge plague upon the film and TV industry at the moment, and that is the mobile phoneification of movies. How things are shot with the intention of being cropped down to Instagram Reels or TikToks. How, for example, Netflix has their writers include lots and lots of exposition to keep the audience up to speed if they're not actually paying attention to the screen. This is artless and it is cowardly. If your film or project is any good, it should be able to command attention anyway. Stick Breaking Bad on and I dare someone to look down at their phone while watching. People have stuff to do. People have always had stuff to do. We've got jobs to do, mouths to feed, mountains to climb, and oceans to swim in. And films have served as something of a reprieve from that. But the films have always had to do that work to get our attention. Instead, though, if we look at like Miyamoto's philosophy, this is just submitting to low attention spans. This is just submitting to the fact that people don't always have a lot of time. And it's weak. I can understand it for such a mass market movie as the Super Mario Galaxy movie. But at the same time, I view things as a consumer and as a creative. I'm not a corporate guy. There's no benefit in it for me when these Mario movies make $1 billion at the box office. All I want is a good movie, and as far as I'm concerned, I did not get that out of the Super Mario Galaxy movie, because it didn't do the legwork to make it stick. You can approach films in such a mathematic sense, and you can approach films in such a submissive sense, but they're not going to be great films. And that is all I care about. The film industry needs less people like Miyamoto. Films need to have tenacity, to not be so desperately afraid that the second they explore a character or a theme, that they might lose the audience. That is, sadly, what Illumination is all about. And that is, sadly, what Miyamoto is all about when it comes to film production, clearly. I respect him as a game director, but as a filmmaker, no, he should steer clear. I think the only real difference, if you take the time to explore characters and themes, is that the kids that are enjoying these Mario movies today might come back to them in 10 years' time and continue to enjoy them. rather than these movies just sliding off of their brains. And I think what makes it so egregious with Mario is that the potential is there. There's wonderful world building in the Mario games, and you could easily make a really cool movie out of that. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, hype the video, apparently that helps. Or don't, it's all optional. And now, a special thank you shout out to the patrons in the $5 and above tier. We have Joseph Tribble, Pressplater Jason, Gideon Wells, Channel Pup, Just Another Evil Robot Clone Claiming Discarded Naming Rights, Xanderwolf, Basic Content, Ben Raven, Manalza, Ghostly Phantom Silver, Josh Strider, Grant Allen, Marv Animation, Twilord, Cho Henshin, KB, RT0, Carlex, Sad Goku Dare, Denny, SSS06, KO Bennett, Slabuba, La 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 La, Gibberish Funny, and Mr. SP, Sirius the Skeptic, Biotin, and Council of Geeks. Not sure why I read it in this order this time. It is what it is. Thank you, folks, for being so generous. It really does mean a lot. And as for the rest of you, on my channel, the buffet is open. Go get yourself another plate. Peace.